Looking for the best RAM for gaming? In this video, we'll break down the top RAM for gaming options available, whilst comparing them for price versus performance. Before we get started with our video detailing the best gaming RAM on the market, we've included links in the description for each product mentioned, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Starting off at number 1, we have the crucial Ballistix Sport LT 8GB DDR4 2666. If you want the best budget RAM, look no further. The crucial Ballistix Sport LT kit has you covered. This DDR4 RAM kit comes with two 4GB DIMMs, each rated to run at 2666 MHz, which is slightly above the 2400 MHz standard for DDR4 RAM. While this 266 MHz difference won't make a massive performance difference, it is nice to have, and it does indicate higher quality than most budget DDR4 RAM sticks, which target lower clocks. When buying PC RAM cheap, it's always important to buy from a reputable manufacturer. Fortunately, manufacturers like Crucial, ADATA, and Patriot always seem to have this price range covered, providing cheap RAM to anyone who needs it. That's to say, despite being considered budget RAM, this is still good RAM for gaming and one of the best 8GB RAM options as well. If you're building a new PC and don't want to spend too much on RAM, then this is the kit for you. Just make sure you don't make the mistake of buying a single RAM stick, as that will prevent you from being able to run in dual channel mode, which may bottleneck your system. At number 2, we have the ADATA XPG Gammix D10 16GB. If you want to equip your PC with a 16GB RAM but don't want to break the bank, ADATA has you covered. The XPG Gammix D10 16GB kit is our pick for best 16GB RAM kit for most people, thanks to its very fair pricing and clock speed bump. The kit itself comprises of two 8GB DIMMs, each running at 2666 MHz. This is a bit above the standard 2400 MHz for DDR4 RAM, and this speed bump will manifest as a slight alleviation in FPS drops in games. You also have a red heatsink, which will complement most builds. There are even black and RGB options if those aren't enough for you. We recommend against the RGB option though, since the heatsink itself is still bright red. Not too long ago, getting 16GB of RAM for under $100 seemed impossible. Thanks to changing regulations and ADATA though, it looks like that time is over. In at number 3, we have the Patriot Viper 16GB DDR3 1866. If you're upgrading an old PC, or reviving a used or refurbished one, you may still need DDR3 RAM. If you want to make the most of this upgrade, we recommend the Patriot Viper 3 kit, which is our top DDR3 RAM kit, at least from a pricing value perspective. For just about $70, you get a full 16GB of DDR3 RAM. This kit is comprised of two 8GB DDR3 RAM kits, each rated to run at 1866 MHz. By DDR3 standards, this is actually very good, and will be one of your best options if you're still using a DDR3 based system. In terms of looks, you have a relatively underplayed black heatsink with a white Viper logo, though there is a brighter blue option if you want a little more visual pop. If you want to get the best possible DDR3 RAM, continue to the bottom of this article to see our fastest DDR3 RAM kit. Be wary though, it'll cost you, and you won't get as much RAM. At number 4, we have the Patriot Viper 4 16GB DDR4 3000. If you want the best value for your money in a 16GB RAM kit, then this is the one for you. The Patriot Viper 4 16GB RAM kit retails for just under $100 on most days, and is comprised of two 8GB DDR4 RAM sticks running at a whopping 3000 MHz each. This is well above the 2400 MHz standard for DDR4 RAM, and leagues beyond anything a DDR3 RAM kit would be capable of. While not the fastest RAM possible, this is definitely the fastest you'll find in this price range. For value-orientated folk who want the best RAM for the money, the Patriot Viper 4 kit is some darn good DDR4 RAM. The only real downsides are price fluctuations, it changes frequently, and a lack of cosmetic options. You'll have to deal with the red heatsink if you decide to get this RAM, though since most motherboards are black nowadays, it should look just fine. At number 5, we have the Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro 16GB DDR4 3000. If all that matters to you is aesthetics, then finding the best RGB RAM is probably important to you. Congratulations, you found it. Corsair was one of the first manufacturers to bring RGB into prominence, and one of the first to do RGB RAM. It's a little surprise then that Corsair is one of the top RAM brands when it comes to RGB. However, that RGB is going to come at a price. This is a 16GB kit comprised of two 8GB DIMMs, each running at 3000 MHz and outfitted with RGB lighting. At the time of writing, it's retailing for around $150, but you can expect the price to fluctuate quite a bit over the year. Even cheaper models like this one will be much more expensive than their non-RGB counterparts, but chances are you knew that already. By the way, you can select different speeds, colors, and configurations for this kit. With the 2x8GB configuration, you can go as high as 4266 MHz. which is easily on par with the best RAM kits on the market, but it's also one of the most expensive RAM kits. Keep this in mind if you make any adjustments. So that sums up our top RAM for gaming in 2019. We hope you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like on the video, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Until next time, have a great day.